This is the Moshpit Backstage podcast for punk, metal and rock interviews and segments.
I'm sure all Australian heavy metal fans have heard of Sydney greats Buried in Verona. They have started their final farewell tour before the disbandment, and on the line I have lead vocalist Brett Anderson. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
Pretty good so far.
Awesome. So, Buried in Verona is disbanding pretty soon. So what has been the feeling around the band and fans as well, since the announcement of the disbandment?
Pretty mixed emotions, really. Like, it's definitely, we felt it was time to, end it sort of on our terms and actually plan a good ending instead of just, going and sort of never hearing from us again and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's definitely sad. It's a big part of my life and has been for a long time, and playing live is, probably sort of the biggest passion I have in the world. But on the other hand, it kind of needed to happen, I think, and just go out on our own terms.
Yeah, well, it's better to end on a high note than to end on, just fading away, I guess.
Yeah, exactly right.
What do you feel like you're going to do, after the final tour? Are you still going to have involvement in music?
Yeah, I've got another project going on called Don't Die Like I Did, which is, becoming sort of more and more predominant in my life, I guess. We're recording an EP, and it's just a nice sort of different path to take. It's quite mellow and soft, so basically the opposite to Buried in Verona, but it's filling that void, and hopefully, when Buried in Verona does, fully dissolve at the end of this tour, it should hopefully help fill the gap, playing live and recording and all the things I love about music.
Yeah, exactly, and I find that interesting that you say that this new stuff that you're doing is softer because, for example, the band Slipknot, the lead singer is also in a band, Stone Sour, which is a lot softer. So I find it interesting how bands that are in the metal sort of scene can have the softer side as well, but have it on a side project. Yeah,
well, I think it's always been in me to do softer music. I grew up with it, with my parents listening to certain things, and I've loved most styles of music for most of my life. Also, I think I started off sort of as a singer, not so much a screamer. So
yeah,
it's really just sort of coming back to where I started from, sort of all those years ago before I decided to tear my throat apart every night. But yeah, no, it's just it's a nice change vocally and mentally and emotionally to sing like that instead of screaming, which is, I guess, quite an aggressive act. You can portray different emotions through screaming, of course, but for the most part, it's a very aggressive and full-on act. So yeah, it's definitely a nice bit of change for me anyway.
Yeah. Do you find that if you're screaming in a gig, at the end of the gig, is it hard to talk, or is your voice still fine?
Most of the time it's pretty fine, but if I haven't slept well, or if I've had a massive night or something like that, with being a vocalist, especially on tour, you find if you're going to get sick or if there's any fatigue that's going to happen, it'll be your throat that goes first, just because it's so overused. But
yeah.
I think over the years you get used to it and you can talk and it's kind of fine after the show, as long as there's no, you haven't got the flu or sickness or no sleep. They're the biggest factors to your recovery time after you've sort of come off stage.
Okay, cool. Your final tour started on Friday and will end at the start of November. What's it been like performing with the upcoming bands such as Capture the Crown, Foxblood and Archive?
Archive and Foxblood haven't joined us yet.
Okay.
They didn't come over to Perth with us.
Oh, damn.
Unfortunately. But Capture the Crown, we've played a few shows with them around the States and stuff before, so they're all really nice guys, and it's good to sort of just hang out, and they're a great band also, so I've been watching them pretty much every night. But yeah, the first two shows in Perth were really good. Good turnouts, and it seemed like a really intense crowd participation this time, so I feel like they're hopefully as excited as us to play live for that last time.
Yeah, well, I guess the crowd probably will get into it more because it is the last time that they'll get to see you perform live. Because I guess if you're going to a concert of a band that's just started, you're probably going to see them a lot more, but if it's a final tour, it's the last time. So it's great that everyone's getting involved and really getting into it.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see, and I mean, on one hand, it makes me miss it even more because it's so amazing, but at least everyone sort of gets to do it one more time.
Yeah. Buried in Verona has had a lot of lineup changes in its time. What impact has this had on the band?
I guess they've always been sort of between albums and stuff, so impact-wise on the music and the dynamics of the band hasn't really affected it too much, but I guess, you're with people for a large amount of time and people leaving and going, it's on a friendship kind of basis and all that sort of stuff's quite hard and straining sometimes. But, I mean, as far as a business and a band that just plays music and records albums and stuff, it's not really that much different.
Yeah, well, I guess if you said it happens when you're in between albums, I mean, like, if it's a different person for a different instrument in different albums, it probably wouldn't affect as much as if it was, like, mid-tour or something, because that would be pretty chaotic, I can imagine, if you had to replace someone mid-tour.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely happened. I mean, one time we had to find a drummer before. I think it was about 2 weeks before we did 60 shows through America and Europe. So that was definitely one of the more stressful times of Buried in Verona. But we finally found someone, and he did. Yeah, I think it was 60 something shows in a row, except the days that it took to fly from America to Europe. So if we had missed out on that, it would have been pretty devastating.
Well, I commend you for that, because that sounds absolutely exhausting. I can't even come up with a word for it, to do 60 shows in a row.
Yeah, that was definitely the biggest leg we've ever done. But but I remember I think the second last show was Grows Rock Festival in Belgium. We were all I think we'd driven from Scotland or something, I can't even remember. We'd driven somewhere that night, overnight, to make the show. It was just horrendous. We were so wrecked. Like, we still went and performed, and the show went well, and it doesn't take long to not become tired when you're staring at 10,000 people. But it was one of the true moments where I literally felt exhausted and nearly couldn't get on that stage. But we did, and it ended up being really good. But yeah, I can remember that time so well. We were all just rat shit.
Yeah. That's insane. So if you've been to Europe, have you been to Verona?
We drove through it. We didn't actually have enough time to stop because we had to make another show. But yeah, we drove through it and took photos of the signs and all that sort of stuff. That's so as close as we got, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was wondering what inspired the band name, because it sounds like something out of Shakespeare.
Yeah, well, I guess the Romeo and Juliet story all those years ago was our bass player at the time wanted a real he wanted the name to be attached to something and not just a random skull wings of doom or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wanted it to sort of mean something and have some kind of story. So, and he was obsessed with that movie, so he just that's where the tragedy happened in Verona, and I guess Romeo and Juliet died, so Buried in Verona sounded like, a pretty good name. And then I think we had a gig coming up really soon, and the promoter was saying, well, I need a name, and that's what it was.
Yeah, that's so cool. I really like that name. I'm a Shakespeare fan, so I think it's really cool. It's good, thought out, well thought of name. So,
well, thank you.
No worries. So, reflecting back on Buried in Verona's 9-year career, what do you look back on with the fondest memories?
We spent a lot of time in Sweden for recording albums and stuff like that, and I think that sort of became our second home. So definitely some of the experiences we had in Gothenburg, Sweden, and touring overseas, both in America and Europe, and playing festivals in America, Europe, Australia. There's so many amazing memories and goals that I got to sort of tick off my list as a musician, and always dreamed about as a kid to do, and I did so many of them. So yeah, I guess there's not one. There's so many good memories. So that's always a good thing. That
that is really good.
I can take after it's all over. That at least we didn't crack it, and we didn't end up living off music, and the fairy tale didn't happen. But we did some crazy things that not many people get to do, which is payment enough for me, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. You're performing in Melbourne on Saturday, the 5th of November, and this is the final show for the tour. What are you looking forward to most, or not looking forward to, about this final show? I
guess I'm not looking forward to the end of that last song. I think it's going to be incredibly emotional and hard, and it's going to be some weird emotions flying around. But, I mean, for 99% of that show, it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be so fun. But, the last couple of seconds of that last song, I think it's going to really hit me. and I'm probably going to have to severely drown my sorrows that night with a lot of friends. So it should be a really fun night.
Yeah, because I hate when things end. I always get all emotional when things end. So I can imagine you ending something that's been a part of your life for so long. It'd be so. I mean, like it'd be bittersweet in a sense because it's ending high, like on a high note, but it's still pretty upsetting that it's ending. But yeah,
definitely.
We'll look forward to it. So thank you so much for talking with me tonight.
No worries. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Moshpit Backstage podcast. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Omni. To find out more about the show, go to www.syn.org.au/moshpit. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/moshpitonsin and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at moshpitsin. The regular Moshpit radio show broadcasts punk, rock and metal tunes and interviews every Thursday nights on Sin 9.7 on FM and digital radios. Listeners outside of Melbourne, Australia can stream Sin 9.7 online at www.syn.org.au. Thanks to Vintage Ruin for the music.
Hi, this is Tommaso from Flashgun Apocalypse.
Hi, I'm Enid from Girls School.
I am Phoebe Pinnock from Heaven the Axe.
Hey, this is Gary Oldmead of the Misfits.
Hey, this is Kat Sproul from Horizon's Edge, and you're listening to the Moshpit on Sin FM.
Hi, this is Einar from Leopard.
Hi, I'm Virginia Lilly from the band Lily.
This is Raul from 1349.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ali from Beaverhead.
Hey, everybody, this is Charlie Benante with Anthrax, and you are listening to the Moshpit on Sin.